Everything we discuss will be timestamped in the description below. For the definitive assault guide, we have all maxed out weapons and over 60 operations with the class. Yet, I feel this guide will still fail the Emperor because no matter what I tried, and I tried a lot, I could not bring this class in power balance with his counterparts. That being said, anybody who has ran an assault since day one will be good with this class. I say that only because I was getting kicked out of groups when I was trying to run lethal, due to the fact they thought that this class would bring down the group dynamic that much. And I'm telling you that a lot of people have a lot of time with this class. They know how to survive with it, and they can deal a lot of damage. So there is no reason to kick them out of your group. We will get into their jetpack, their dodge abilities, their unique weapon, the Thunder Hammer, and everything there is about the assault. Alright, for dodging with this character, he has the starting perk of a 50% increase to his perfect dodge timing. Now, the best advice I can give to this is just allow it to happen when it happens and do not over focus on trying to dodge things, because just the way the game is built is that's why this class kind of struggles. The way the game is built is it is catered to using your parries. So parry is always going to be superior to dodge. It opens up gun strikes, it kills minor enemies, it gives you armor back, and it cancels your attacks. And dodge will only give you a gun strike. So no matter what, the game is actually just designed to wanting you to parry an attack over dodging it like 80 to 90% of the time, unless there's a prompt on the screen telling you to dodge. But like I said, when you do have to dodge, you will notice this window and you will open up more gun strikes. It's just not as beneficial as I thought, as I think the developers kind of thought it was going to be, and that is just because dodge is not as impactful in the game as parry, and that's why when you have the Vanguard with a 50% parry, he's just godly, but then you give this character a 50% dodge, and it's just not nearly as noticeable. Alright, let's talk about our Thunder Hammer. Unique to the class, it is a fun weapon to use. My favorite aspect about it is its aftershock, which is this charged attack right here. Very, very powerful attack. Causes knockbacks, does a lot of single target damage as well. It's just with this thing, you always have to remember you're never trying to charge this thing to max charge unless you have like a boss that is severely stunned, because you can never get that off. It takes way too long. It is very impactful, but it takes way too long. So you're really charging this thing as fastly as you can, which is very fast. I'm talking like a half a second. If you hold RB for half a second and let go, you will get this thing off. Just the most important thing to note with this attack, and just all of his attacks in general, is that you can cancel it out with a parry. So when you are like mid-swing and you see somebody getting ready to attack you, you have to parry out of it and block instead. Especially just if you know that the incoming damage is more detrimental than the damage you're about to do, then you have to cancel your attack and parry instead. It is going to be the best way to keep you alive with this character, and really just every character in the game. So other important aspects of this Thunder Hammer is the pummel smash. You utilize this when you see like a group of like 3 or 4 minor enemies or whatever. You pummel smash them and you get a gun strike and kill them, and then you just utilize it for little enemies you see around the map, just so you can grab yourself some extra armor from gun strikes. And then it has a unlimited light attack, so you will never run out of light attacks, and then you can just hold your RB to do a ground pound to finish up a light attack combo, if you please. So very strong weapon. I think it is the most powerful for the class. The Power Fists are probably a close second, and then I would say the Chainsword after that. The Power Fist and Chainsword are pretty similar, actually. I would find them very, very equal, and then I would put this one step above both of those. Alright, so I wanted just to quickly show you guys just how powerful this class can be with melee damage against bosses, and with the Thunder Hammer and with his ground pound. So you see how much health the boss has right now. One charged attack from the Thunder Hammer. Watch his health. I mean, it is a big chunk of health. Right there was one attack, and then a ground pound was enough to take, you know, a whole full bar and probably like a quarter of another bar. So when it comes to melee damage against these bosses, I know it is far and few between that you can actually get melee damage off on them, but when you can, the assault is extremely deadly. Jetpack abilities. So there's basically two ways you can use this thing as a dash. That is when you tap it and you pick a direction and you will dash towards that direction. And you can get perfect dodges and stuff that way. But the superior way to use it, and really the strongest thing with this character, is to use it as a ground pound. So you would hold Y, and then you would hold your melee attack, pick where you want to strike, and then strike that area. So I say that's the most effective way because that is the single most melee damage that you can do in a single attack in the game. It's in lethal, it's 280 damage. Usually it's an execute directly on hitting them, but most of the time it's an execute. You hit them once and then you swing one time and then they're ready to execute. So very, very powerful, but then it kind of negates the dodge, you know, that they want you to use this for dodging, which would be nice, but you don't want to waste your charges. So the only time you really want to use this to be dodging around and dashing around with it is obviously if you are in a life or death situation, you know what I'm saying, whatever it takes at that point. And then when you know you have the perk that gives you a charge back if you get a perfect dodge, and then you know 100% that you are going to get a perfect dodge on the enemy. That way, you know, then you at least get your charge back, and then you could kind of dash, and then you can use your ground pound right after you use the dash. So that's not bad. We'll kind of see the dash. The dash does work. See, like right there, it worked pretty good. Wasn't really expecting 3 of these guys. Let's see if we can take all these guys out. But the ground pound is where it's really at, and it's super powerful then. And this guy is like the king of gun strikes, so that is really, you really want to utilize your gun strikes with this character as much as you can. Sorry if I'm not talking too much. I really wasn't expecting people to spawn right here, but I figured maybe I can get some gameplay of me using. See, the dodges, that kind of thing is just, you know, it's getting used to, because you're kind of used to parrying more often with every other character, because dodge just isn't as strong. So you're really not, you know, using your oh, right there, I should have gun strike that guy first. But you're seeing, I mean, the ground pound is extremely powerful on this thing, man. It's just maybe if they let you use it more, it would be stronger. Oh, that sniper's gonna get me. I knew it. Ah, I'm sorry. I have failed. I have failed the Emperor. Jeez. There's 3 of them over there. Now watch, with these guys, you cannot charge your attack. You are just wait for them to fire, and then go up and straight back down, right on them. That's your best bet. Do not try to charge on these sniper guys right here, because they will get you. Now that they got me, I'm gonna have to take them out. These guys are difficult on lethal, man. They shoot fast, and when they get enraged, then they're so deadly. I mean, one shot from these guys is like 2 armor or like half of your life or something. It's crazy. This guy's not even attacking me. I appreciate that, buddy. And this guy's gonna be done. Oh, yeah. See, he still hit me with that thing. They have to add maybe like let you be immune during that thing or something. It would make it a lot stronger, you know. Oh, sorry I didn't get the best gameplay of using that thing. I really wasn't expecting to get attacked. For our melee options with the class, we have the Chainsword, the Thunderhammer, unique to the Assault, and the Power Fist. We will start with the Thunderhammer. Always, for all the versions, you're never going to want to take a blocking weapon because you cannot perfect parry, and it is just too big of a detriment to any character to really survive without being able to perfect parry at all. So you're always going fencing or balancing, and most of the time, personally, I am taking fencing. And I will also get into later in this video, because this class, they did design it for you to take a blocking weapon because they wanted you to dodge instead of parry. But I'll get into why you're not going to want to do that, and I tested it a lot, at least about 10 operations, and it was not feasible. So this is how I have my Thunderhammer spec'd out. Now, the two perks I found most important for this weapon was fast preparation to increase your aftershock charge time, and then also aftershock improved, which is aftershock gains additional spin, so you get an extra hit on your aftershock. Both very good. I would suggest just speccing to where you can at least get those two, and then you can kind of go through and do the tree how you want. But for me, I always like to take the extra damage against majors, and I only took the minors one right here, so I can just grab this. Pummel Smash deals 50% more damage. Now, truthfully, Pummel Smash must have a very low base damage, because the 50%, which sounds like a lot more damage, really doesn't seem to affect the Pummel Smash that much. So I'm assuming the base damage is low, so the extra 50% really is not that much added on. Because I tried it, I tested it, just Pummel Smash 50%, and then also I had it tied to a 25% perk on our Assault class, so I had 75% extra Pummel Smash. But even with 75%, it was still taking me in lethal probably like 8, maybe 9 Pummel Smashes before I was actually able to execute. So it is definitely not a way that you want to spec your whole build around just using Pummel Smash, because it really does not work. I did try it. So yeah, that is the way I like to spec mine out. Like I said, always look for fast preparation and aftershock improved. I feel like those are the two strongest perks on this hammer, and this was my preferred weapon with this class. Next we have the Power Fist, which I also tested a lot on this class, and I did have a lot of fun with these. They are very good, definitely after they got that update, a week ago or so. For these, very similar. There's two perks that I felt were very important that I think you should take, and that is heavy preparation. The same as the hammer, it gives you a 30% increase of your charge times, and then this one is very, very strong. The power wave forward distance increases from 4 to 8 meters. Sometimes this the Power Fist will supply like a decent knockback to enemies, and when you have these these extra meters added on there, when they get knocked back and then you charge and attack again, they could be pretty far from you and you're still going to land that second attack. So that's why I really felt like the extra meters was very important, and just for obvious reasons, it's clearing out much more things in front of you and different things like that. And for our chain sword, we have this right here is how I usually like to spec my chain swords out. I'm going for the extremist and the major damage, and that is yeah, this is basically across the board, this is usually how I like to spec my chain sword on most of my characters. And like I said, you're not going blocking, you're going fencing or balanced, and most of the times I would recommend fencing. Alright, for our ranged options for the assault, we have the heavy bolt pistol and the standard bolt pistol. Now, the heavy bolt pistol is better than the standard bolt pistol. It is just not by a big enough margin, I feel. So that's kind of why it is lacking a little bit, but I would still recommend this over the regular bolt pistol due to the fact that it does have more firepower, and it is better getting you contested health than the standard bolt pistol. You fire off a couple headshots with this thing when you got contested health, it fills up pretty fast. Not extremely fast, but fast enough to, gain most of your health back. So that is really how I use this weapon. This is how I have mine spec'd out. I went with headshot damage, a little bit of extra magazine capacity, and also I took this equipment maximum speed or maximum spread decreases by 25% when hip firing. And the reason I took that one is because, like I said, I was using this for contested health, so I wanted, when I needed to utilize it in the hip fire mode, I was hitting as many possible enemies as I could without, suffering a huge spread and just missing a bunch of times. So that was my reasoning for the way I spec'd mine out. But, to each their own. If you're good at using melee for contested health, you can spec yours out different way if you wanted to. But this is personally what worked best for me. Alright, for our assault perks, we're going to get into why I chose what I chose and why I really only see one strong build for this class. I don't see much build variation at all. And when I detoured away from some of these perks, especially in Ruthless and Lethal, it became very difficult for me. So for higher difficulties, this is the build I recommend. We have Armor Reinforcement, Non-Finisher Gun Strikes, also restore armor. Very important for your survivability. Auxiliary arsenal, secondary weapon damage increases by 15%. I just find it the strongest in the row, and anything we can add on to our heavy bolter will help us. Melee damage increases by 15% against major or extremist level enemies. That is knowledge of the enemy. Very strong perk right there. And then proven efficiency, all squad members deal 50% more gun strike damage. I like the amount of contested health my gun strikes give me when I have this perk on, and I do find it to be a pretty powerful perk. I wish the gun strike damage was a little higher than that, but he also has a 10% abilities recharge faster, but I just prefer this one, but that one is up to you. Precision strike, ground pound deals 100% more damage, but its radius is reduced by 50%. I find that to be his most important perk, and it actually makes your ground pound relevant in higher difficulties. Next up, we have maneuverability. Jump pack recharges 20% faster. You want to be using that as much as possible, so that one is obvious. And then diligence, a fully prepared ground pound deals 20% more damage, but preparation time is increased by 25%. For this one, you're not going to be able to use it every time, but you know, like 40-50% of the time, you can usually get it charged all the way up, and it does do a significant amount of more damage. And lastly, I take commitment, a perfectly timed dodge using a jump pack dash restores jump pack's ability charge. This is just on the off chance that I have to use my dash and it does perfectly dodge, I will get my charge back. And it's just because the other two are pretty weak, I find, in this row. The first one reloads your weapon, which it's a pistol and it already reloads pretty fast. And the second one is jump pack leap, deals damage to all enemies in the takeoff area. A lot of the times I'm not really by a ton of enemies when I'm using this to take off. And then also when I have used this around a bunch of enemies, it's not that strong. It doesn't like kill miners or really help you out that much. So I feel like, you know, you could take anyone in this row if you want, honestly. Alright, when we're putting it all together with the assault class, you're really using your jump pack to eliminate all the major threats on the screen, and then you are also using your thunder hammer to clear out as many small enemies, major enemies, anything that is around your teammates as efficiently as you can. Utilize your gun strikes, your perfect parries, everything you can for regaining your armor back, because I feel like one of the major weaknesses for this character is gaining contested health back. So I would usually go to my heavy bolter for contested health and also to gun strikes for my contested health. And then if you're running my build that I had here with the 50% added onto your gun strikes, you do notice a pretty big chunk of contested health refill from gun strikes just from having that extra 50%. So that is also very helpful. But the main thing is try to keep your armor up. Make sure you're canceling your attacks with your parries so you're just not losing your armor, you know, too much. Because you don't want your armor to get too low, because like I said, contested health is the thing to deal with this class. So keep your armor up, swing when you can, and cancel when you have to, and don't get hit by dodge attacks like me right there. Want to take either for your first character or your last character, which is so weird to say, but hear me out. So if you take this as your first class and you stick through it and you go all the way to 25, I think overall you're going to be better at every mechanic in the game than the other classes. And the reason is because you really have to use every single game mechanic at a high level to make this class efficient and good. So that's why I say if you take it first, you're kind of just, you know, you're taking the heavy burden right away, and it's forcing you to learn everything about the game to keep yourself alive. And then by the time you get to 25, you are going to run through with other classes extremely easy. And then why I say take it last is because if you take it last, you have picked up so much knowledge over leveling other characters up to 25. Like, I can't tell you how much I learned just by going through each character, the different game mechanics, because each character was kind of relying on a different game mechanic. So like with the heavy, I really learned how I would use my heavy stance, so I would be aiming and canceling my aim with my parry. So I would use that when I was the assault. I used parrying a lot, which I really picked up because I love to use it on the Vanguard like everybody else. So it's like they kind of prepare you when you're playing all these other classes. You pick up so much game knowledge that by the time you do get to the assault, if he is your last class, you're going to put all of that stuff that combined, everything you learned on the heavy, on the sniper, on the Vanguard, you're going to combine all of that game knowledge, and then you will You will for sure be an efficient assault class, and you will run. Now, with all that stuff being said, this class, I'm not saying, you know, don't buff this class, dude. This class needs buffs, okay? There's no doubting it. If anybody is telling you they have like a definitive build for this class right here that is just overpowering and makes and is even as powerful as any other class in the game, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I tried every build, and I could see how they got this character set up, all right? They want you to be the dodge class. They almost want you to take a blocking weapon and just dodge and really not utilize your perfect parries and use your blocking weapon to have that extra damage for the melee and all that. But it's just not feasible in the game. You cannot take a weapon that does not reward you armor from parries. You will die so quickly. I tried running the block weapons so many different operations. I'm talking at least 10 operations. I went straight block and dodge with this character, and it was not even close to as good when I ran him, and I was playing him like more of a parry character and just dodging in between like I normally do, you know what I'm saying, with all the other classes. I think he could have 100% extra dodge window, and he would still be running into these exact same problems, because dodge is not impactful in the game.